Hello, welcome to Crime Bytes, the show where we talk about some truly bizarre and disturbing crime cases. My name is Liz, and today is True Crime Tuesday. So, happy New Year's, everyone, or New Year's Eve, I should say. We still have today to either make or mess up our 2024 if we so choose. So, with that in mind, I thought we would do sort of a review type compilation video. Hopefully, it will be a little bit more on the lighthearted side. We'll start by throwing a meme up that inspired this episode. I saw this a couple weeks ago on Facebook and I was thinking, what is it about Florida? Don't get me wrong, I've spent a bit of time there and I would actually say it's my favorite state in the US, but some of the true crime stories or just stories that come out of there, they'd arguably be some of the wildest. Then we have Texas, California, and Ohio kind of tries to hold up the north with the wild stories, but I'm sure you've all heard the term Florida man. And I had to hop on Google and look into this gem, and I'm sorry, or I'm actually happy to inform you that this one is purely satire, but I did think it would be fun to look at some of the Florida man crimes from 2024 as we ring out this year together. But before we do that, let's pause for a quick promotion, and today is your last day of the year. And if you could change one thing easily about yourself to make yourself more confident, what would it be? If your answer had anything to do with your smile or the color of your teeth, let this be your sign to click the link in my description and give Snow a try. This link will give you 15% off of your first purchase, but guys, it's not bad price-wise anyways for what you get. Can you really put a price on a white smile to begin with? I mean, some of us can, and I know I'm not swimming in cash at the moment, so what I do love about Snow is that I got a whiter smile that lasted for a very reasonable price, and I just did these strips. They're just great. I loved them. So if it's something you've been wanting to try, click this link, take advantage of that extra 15% off, and start your new year smiling bright. All right, so yeah, Snow would be a great choice for a lot of people, myself included, but today we are going to go ahead and look at some bad choices, and because I'm all freezing and grumpy up here in Massachusetts, it's a bad choice of my own at the moment, I thought we would go ahead and look at some of the bad choices made by our southern friends. And if you feel like, I don't know, you've escaped this year barely being hit by a bus, ambulance, or an airplane, well, there could be a reason for that. And we're going to start today's list on January 1st of 2024 when a Florida man named Steve decided that he would beat his girlfriend with her dildo. Yep, that's how we started this year off in the Sunshine State. So Steve and his lady were ringing in the new year, and things were getting a little bit heated in a good way. And then they got even more heated, but not in a good way, because Steve's girl told him that he may need one of those little blue pills because things weren't quite going as she had hoped. And well, Steve didn't take kindly to that suggestion, and he grabbed one of her sex toys and he rammed it down her throat and then started punching her. Steve. Gross. Anyways, they did arrest him for domestic battery and he was booked into the county jail. He was released after 43 hours in jail and ordered to have no contact with the victim. So 2024 was off to a great start. Then on January 17th, Travis McBride, owner of Starting Point Mental Health, LLC, which specialized in PTSD, bipolar disorder, and anger management, was arrested for shooting a local homeless man. Apparently, he was having an ongoing dispute with the man, and Travis had claimed that the man put glass in jars attempting to harm his dogs, and went out looking for him. And a witness would recall Travis telling her this, then later on in the day hearing 9 shots ring out. Travis had shot the man and put the body in the back of his hatchback, where it was ultimately found. After the witness Travis was confiding in called the police. He is being charged with first-degree murder. And if an anger management specialist offing someone in a rage isn't enough irony for you, on January 19th, James Edward Cox Jr., an 80-year-old mall Santa, was arrested for receipt and possession of hundreds of images and videos depicting sexual abuse of children. 80-year-old mall Santa. He would plead guilty and be sentenced to 8 years and 1 month in prison. So let's move on to February. February was a month for Grand Theft Auto, and we have 2 cases to highlight. On February 8th, Luiz Gustavo Ares, a Miami native, was out in Palo Alto, California, when he decided to hijack a small plane and fly it to the beach. And he would successfully land it and walk away. Bystanders would help give a description, and he was arrested and booked on suspicion of theft of an airplane and misappropriation of lost property. Then on February 29th, Bruce Matthew Plumber attempted to hijack a small plane out of Fort Myers, but almost immediately crashed the plane into a pole. Plumber's criminal history consists of several DUIs and violations of probation. He was booked into the county jail for armed burglary of an unoccupied conveyance, grand theft of over $100,000, and possession of a bulletproof vest while committing certain offenses. On March 1st, Aukievah Reddick would break into her ex's apartment. Sort of. She knew where he had the spare key, and so she entered without his permission and she trashed the place. And when he came home, she would open up a can of pickled pork and just pelt it at him, but she would miss, and it would land on his couch and just open and spill all over his couch. And can you just imagine the smell of that? I don't know what he did to inspire this rampage, but officers would arrive to find the guy running out his front door and Aukievah just pelting a 2-liter bottle of Sprite at him. She was facing burglary, battery, and criminal mischief charges for this. On April 1st, an unnamed bus driver in Fort Pierce, Florida, would be fired for stopping a school bus full of children on a train track while a freight train was approaching. They would park the bus for about 20 seconds with those little warning thingies, and they would actually come down and hit the roof of the bus as students screamed, "Hey, Scooty!" The train was approaching. The driver would simply yell for them to be quiet and drove off the tracks before the bus was actually hit by the train. But some of the students can't even handle hearing the sound of an approaching train because of this. Can you even imagine? And apparently the driver only got let go. I don't see anything about any charges being pressed. I would be beyond furious if I was one of those parents. Then on April 26th, an unidentified man was stopped by the TSA trying to smuggle something in his front pocket area. "Sir, is that a snake in your pocket?" Or, yeah, it actually was 2 snakes that he was trying to smuggle through the Miami checkpoint. He went in for the pat down, and at that point he knew that there was no avoiding letting the snakes out of his trousers. I'm not even sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. And they were these cute little pink snakes too, and I don't know, they're not specified, but they look harmless, like little corn snakes or rat snakes maybe. Do any of you guys know what these are? Anyways, they were turned over to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission. There's just too much between trouser snakes on planes, but yes, this Floridian was not getting away with his antics at this checkpoint. No, sir, ma'am, bear pig. Then on May 6th, James Anderson was volunteering at the Vortex Spring Soul Fest, an EDM festival. He decided to partake in some PCP, LSD, ketamine, mushrooms, and ecstasy before the event, which really put him in quite a mood. He decided to grab an officer's gun and proceeded to bite a chunk out of his head. A chunk out of his head. Kind of in the back, but it will probably leave a scar, and fortunately did not damage his skull. James was charged with aggravated battery of an officer, as well as another charge of resisting arrest with violence. Then in May, on the 21st, Daniel Saez would decide to steal a school bus while having some fun on drugs and alcohol and drive it from Tampa to Miami. He would be tracked down and arrested in Sarasota, where he would say that he did plan on returning the bus when he was finished with it because he felt bad. So, at least there's that. Anyways, we've got Florida men stealing planes and buses, but buckle up because in June, Florida woman Ariel Marchan-Le Quire would hijack an ambulance from a children's hospital in Fort Myers, driving it recklessly and almost flipping it over before abandoning it at a gas station and attempting to flee on foot. She ultimately was captured and was charged with grand theft of a motor vehicle, leaving the scene of a crash, resisting an officer, fleeing and eluding, and theft of emergency equipment. Thankfully, no one was hurt in this incident. On July 26th, 44-year-old Florida woman Ruby Mancha was having a party outside of her house in the South Fort Myers area. It was around midnight, and it was getting a little bit too loud for her neighbor, who asked her if she could just maybe quiet down her festivities a little. She responded by flinging beer bottles at him, but she didn't stop there. She would grab a machete that was in a nearby banana tree and just wail that at him. He was able to duck out of the way just in time, and the machete would land in his house, causing some property damage. But he would tell the arresting officers that if he didn't duck out of the way just in time, it probably would have killed him. Ruby would actually be the one who called 911, but they would listen to her neighbor, and she would end up being arrested. And she was so agitated that they had to shackle her legs up to get her off to jail. And she ended up being charged with assault with a deadly weapon. On August 27th, Wade Wilson, our Deadpool killer, received 2 death sentences for the murders of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz. I did cover this case earlier this year, and I'll leave a link to it at the end of this video if you're more interested in it. I just can't with this guy, though, and the attention that he got simply because of his looks. Okay, next. On August 31st, Chelsea White would throw her boyfriend's glass dildo at him after an altercation, apparently over him having the sex toy. The couple have been together for 15 years and have a child together. She was arrested and charged with domestic battery, and I laughed a little, but it's not really funny. It's just the irony of it, I guess. These things are problems. Like, if you're having these problems, you don't attack people. I mean that in the nicest way possible. Apparently, she was arrested in 2022 as well for the exact same thing, stealing her boyfriend's sex toy from him and then attacking him with it when confronted. Just break up if it's that much of a problem, or work it out somehow. But, man, you can't be doing stuff like that. On September 14th, Florida man John Kastner was arrested while driving an excavator in a scrapyard under the influence. Police were called because he was getting a little rowdy and yelling at people while he was driving around. There he is. Look at his shirt. Oh boy, Johnny. In October, Hurricane Milton hit Florida hard, and Giovanny Aldama Garcia left his adorable Bull Terrier Jumbo tied to a fence and just fled Georgia. And just don't even get me started. I want to tie him to a fence and see how much he likes it when floodwaters are coming up to him. Right, Scooter? He's looking out the window. Anyways, this is how they found the poor boy.
But
it's okay, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's okay, buddy. It's okay.
Giovanny was arrested and charged with third-degree animal cruelty. On November 29th, Anthony and Robert Coyle got into a heated argument at their mother's house. Robert was upset because he felt his 39-year-old brother was using his car too much. Anthony would respond by shooting him, and then shooting himself in front of his mother because he didn't want to go to prison for shooting his brother. Can you even imagine? And on December 5th, Florida man Austin Alexander Smith decided to get high on meth and therefore does not remember what exactly compelled him to break into his neighbor's house, but he would be found without pants, holding carpet cleaner. Infer with that what you will. My mind kind of needs to be reined in a little though. Apparently it was 1:30 in the morning and Austin did wake up the residents of the home who yelled at him, and he dropped that carpet cleaner and fled right out of the house pantless. He was charged and booked for burglary of an occupied dwelling. And that is going to do it. But I am going to make today's positive highlight our poor little Bull Terrier. And let me get mine over here. Where's my bacon? The poor little Bull Terrier who is abandoned. And it's not just because it's a Bull Terrier. I was literally talking to my mom about this last week. Here, buddy. Here, Scooty. The people who tie dogs up and abandon them are like literally the worst. The worst ever. Or shut them in somewhere. I don't know. I guess setting them free isn't much better, but it feels slightly better because at least then he wouldn't have drowned, like tied to a fence in this case. How about if you adopt a dog, you take care of it or you find someone who can? Is that too harsh? Anyways, that's Scoot Dog's real fact for the day. If you adopt a dog, you take care of it. And think before you commit too, because, yeah. Anyhow, he was rehomed. He was renamed Trooper, and there was this man, or a couple, there was a couple who raised Bull Terriers for 30 years and who saw his story and were just like, we have to come get him. And that's how I felt when I saw Scoot. Look at his face. Ah! Little face. Good job, Bacons. Anyways, they have a female bully named Dallas whose eyes lit up when she saw Trooper, and apparently Trooper is assimilating well to his new home with his new friend. I really, really hate animal abuse stories, but I really love happy endings like this. And I also want to add a thank you to everyone who tunes in, as well as a quick channel update. They sent me my little yearly stats. It's been a good year. I got back on track with the channel. I joined the partner program and kind of started growing again. So if you are a true crime and Bull Terrier fan, and you're not already subscribed, I am here every Tuesday to talk about a bizarre crime case. Every so often I do a compilation of shorter bizarre cases surrounding a topic, kind of like today. Actually, this year's most watched video was the compilation of people cramming themselves into chimneys that I made for Christmas last year. I will leave a link for that as well in a second. But if you do have anything you'd like to hear on this channel, feel free to let me know in the comments. I've got a few things planned, and there's literally no shortage of bizarre acts to talk about, unfortunately. So, Happy New Year. Celebrate safe, reflect on your choices, and let's all try and make better choices in 2025. All right, guys, here are those links to the chimney video and Wade Wilson, the Deadpool killer. Happy New Year. See you next week, and stay safe out there. Bye.